So welcome and thank you so much for joining us for this presentation about practicing in British Columbia. A couple of quick notes. We'll record this presentation and share it along with some brochures about practicing in BC with all Canadian students. And we'll save some time at the end of the presentation for student questions. So I have the unique honor today of introducing our two incredible speakers who are both members of the BC Chiropractic Board and alumni of UWS. Dr. Jabeen Jussa graduated from the University of Western States in 1999. After graduation, she moved back to Vancouver, starting her own private practice in addition to offering locum services. She served as the chair for the Women's Portfolio on the Smaley Council for British Columbia and served as the vice chair for a human resources volunteer organization where she was responsible for developing strategic plans in recruitment, training, and deployment. Outside of her clinical practice, Dr. Jussa serves as a mentor to new chiropractors. She's committed to delivering the highest quality of care and to advancing the profession to benefit patients. Dr. Rupi Kaila graduated from the University of Western States DC program in 1997. Then in 2017, she returned to UWS and received a master's degree in human nutrition and functional medicine. Dr. Kaila has worked in private practice for 21 years and is the clinical director of a multidisciplinary clinic in Burnaby, BC. Additionally, she's the clinical director of a registered massage therapy clinic. Last but not least, she serves as the finance director for multiple private real estate holding companies and sits on the board of directors for an international manufacturing company. Dr. Kaila is active in the community she practices in, fostering good relationships with community leaders and business organizations. Her passion is to help the advancement of the chiropractic profession, promote health and access to chiropractic care, elevate the positive public image of the profession, and broaden the chiropractic scope of practice. So without further ado, please join me in offering a warm welcome to Drs. Jabeen Jussa and Rupi Kaila.
Thank you, Natasha, for that introduction. Welcome, everyone. As Rupi and I were getting onto the Zoom, we're thinking, man, it's been so long since we graduated. But we're really pleased to be here, and we hope that you'll get as much out of this as we will, and there'll be a great opportunity for questions and answers at the end. So without further ado, welcome, and I'll let Rupi and I will just go back and forth on slides. So I'll let Rupi go on.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you all. My name is Rupi Kaila, and I'm going to start with a territorial acknowledgement. So I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we are on today. While we meet on a virtual platform, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the land which we call home. The meeting is being chaired on the traditional lands of the Coast Salish, Shumanis, Solo, and Musqueam, and the BCCA office is located on the traditional lands of the Coast Salish people, specifically the Kwantlen, Tsawwassen, Stolo, Sumanis, and Musqueam First Nations. We acknowledge these territories to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relations between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. We acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the First Nations people that call this province home. Please join me in a minute of reflection to acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and to consider how we are and can each in our own way try to move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration.
So we're just going to start off with a bit of an overview into getting into practice. So I understand that the next Canadian Examining Board exams are in October. So you will need to finish those exams. And I have to say we're really fortunate here in Canada as chiropractors, because during the pandemic, our Canadian Examining Board has been able to have these exams continue so people can get licensure. Unfortunately, our colleagues, the physiotherapists, have had a challenge with it. So it's great through the pandemic that we've been able to get people licensed. So you'll start by doing your exams. Once you've passed that, you can then register to the College of Chiropractors of British Columbia. They will provide you with your licensing number. The next three organizations are voluntary organizations. They're a membership organization. However, we strongly recommend that you join them. They are fantastic in terms of advocating for you, for your patients. And so both Rupi and I sit on the BC Chiropractic Association Board of Directors. And essentially what we do is we advocate for the profession. We go to government, we lobby to the government. And so it's a great membership that would be great for you guys to join. Again, it is optional and voluntary. The national organization, the Canadian Chiropractic Association, again, that is a voluntary organization. It's a membership organization. And then the other one that we recommend is the Canadian Chiropractic Protective Association. Rupi will go into a little bit more detail on that one. And that essentially is your malpractice membership. All three of these associations do offer discounts for new graduates. And we'll go into a little bit more detail of that later. And then you'll be able to practice in BC, which is fantastic. Once you've set up practice in BC, got your licensing, and if you are a member of the Chiropractic Association, we do have a resource at the office, a professional advisor that can also help you in getting started with practice. There's going to be some third-party insurers that you need to set up with in order to for your patients so that you can bill extended health. There's a couple of other things that are not on the slide that we just wanted to add is when we graduated, both Rupi and I, we both got what we call disability insurance. And again, that is optional. And it's a private insurance. So if you were to injure yourself, based on the terms of what you sign up with, you could get some benefits. So if you were injured for say 3 months, they would cover some of your expenses. So something I highly recommend that you get. The younger you are, the cheaper it is. So the sooner you purchase that. And if I'm not mistaken, every 5 years, the rate has increased. But I got it as soon as I graduated and would definitely recommend it. And then obviously, if you set up your own clinic, there's going to be other insurances that you'll need. So you'll need office insurance. And then you'd have to obviously have WorkSafe insurance for your staff. So just a couple other recommendations that we would have.
So I'm going to talk about the College of Chiropractors of BC, and we'll be talking about the association versus the college. There's always a little bit of confusion when people graduate. So the college is British Columbia's regulatory board that licenses chiropractors once they graduate. So it is not optional, it is mandatory. So they'll enforce basically the standards of practice to protect the public. So that's one thing you have to remember. Membership with CCBC is mandatory to practice in BC. So they'll define the code of conduct for practitioners. If there's any complaints against you from public, then they'll investigate, they'll do the due diligence. And if there is any disciplinary action at that point, they are the ones that will discipline the practitioners for practicing outside their practice guidelines. So hopefully that doesn't happen to anybody.
So I'm going to talk about the BC Chiropractic Association. So that's a board that both Rupi and I sit on. We are definitely the voice for the profession. Over 85% of the licensed chiropractors in British Columbia are members of this association. Again, it is optional, but there is great value to being a member. So our role is essentially to protect the interest of the profession and to advocate for the membership. We lobby the government for various policies for professional practice, and we provide a lot of continuing education opportunities as well. As I mentioned earlier, the BCCA office does have a staff member, and his role is as a professional advisor. So you can reach out to him, you can ask him questions about, practice in BC, about different types of associateships. If you're having any issues with third-party vendors, such as ICBC, the motor vehicle insurance company here, or WorkSafe. And we work very closely with the CCBC, with the college, also with our national association, as well as with the Malpractice Association. For new graduates, essentially we have a sponsorship program. So existing full-time members of the association sponsor new grads for 3 years. And so you get definitely a reduced rate for being a member. And as a student as well, you can we can also kind of connect you with, if you have an interest in a particular area of practice, or if there's a particular location that you're interested in practicing, definitely reach out to us or to the office and we can help connect you. But I definitely, I did sign up for this association as well as the national as soon as I graduated, just for all the value added services that it does provide.
So we'll talk about the Canadian Chiropractic Association. So also when I graduated, I signed it up with the provincial association and then also the Canadian Chiropractic Association. So this is your national professional membership association, and they promote and support the profession and help and set the direction and create a unified voice at the national level. So in order to be a member, you have to be a member of the provincial association. And from here, you get resources for chiropractors and the public. They provide professional development and educational opportunities for their members. They advocate and lobby at the national level. And the CCA supports the Canadian Chiropractic Research Foundation, which is to increase the quantity and quality of chiropractic research in Canada. There's also the Canadian Chiropractic Guideline Initiative, which was launched by the CCA to develop clinical practice guidelines to basically help deliver chiropractic care in Canada based on the best scientific evidence that's available.
So as Ruby mentioned, from the Canadian Chiropractic Association, two other organizations were born from them. So the Canadian Chiropractic Research Foundation and the Canadian Chiropractic Guideline Initiative. I have to say that the CCGI is incredible. It's an incredible tool that I've used. They put out guidelines on, shoulder injuries, exercise while pregnant, dealing with rotator cuff or low back, and they literally put together these algorithms that you can follow. So definitely great tools by the CCA.
We'll talk about a little bit of liability insurance. So you've got the Canadian Chiropractic Protective Association. They have been pretty much the leading provider of liability insurance. More than 9,000 chiropractors are registered with CCPA, and it's insurance created specifically for chiropractors. They are pretty much the gold standard when it comes to protecting chiropractors in Canada. They were started by chiropractors to ensure that our profession would always have access to expert level professional liability insurance from a team of lawyers and experts led by chiropractors. It's owned by its members. So in order to be a member of the CCA, you need to be insured by CCPA. Sorry, the other way around. To be a member of CCPA, you have to be a member of CCA. You can literally pick up the phone and call them. You'll have a real live agent to speak to, and they'll let you know what to do. So basically, if something happens while you're practicing, before you take any further step, that you would just pick up the phone, you get someone to contact, they'd speak to you right away. And probably within the first 30 minutes, their lead lawyer would be on the phone with you to direct you as to how to proceed. So real-time help makes a huge difference. There's some smaller insurance companies that are around right now, but nothing compares to the CCPA. So I highly, highly recommend getting insurance through CCPA.
We mentioned earlier, so there is for students, you can enroll in a student BCCA membership. It is absolutely free. Definitely something that I would recommend that you do. And there's the website link is at the top of this page, and I think there'll be some follow-up material as well. Also, just to put out there that in the end of October 29th and 30th this year, we're going to have our first in-person BCCA convention, first time since 2019. And new grads can, students can also attend that. So if you want to come meet some of the local chiropractors, do some networking, please consider that. Earlier, we talked about the sponsorship membership for new grads. So it's outlined there. And so essentially the existing full-time BCCA members, they sponsor new grads. And so as you can see there, so we know it takes a little while to get licensing. So you essentially get you get a discount for your first 3 years. If you quit the program within the first 3 years, the sponsorship program, you are then responsible to pay the full dues to the BCCA. but definitely, as we've kind of mentioned a few times, it's a great value-added membership group to be a part of. So if you have any, if you do want to register, please check out the link attached.
So let's talk about how the BCCA supports its members. They provide leadership, information, and services, and advocate on behalf of the profession to external stakeholders. So this would mean working with schools of chiropractic to engage and guide students on their chiropractic journey, kind of like what we're doing with you guys today. Advocating to the Ministry of Health to improve access to chiropractic care. Presenting and educating government bodies, such as the Select Standing Committee on Finance and Government Services, and the Select Standing Committee on Health. So the BCCA, long word, tongue twister, I should say, works tirelessly to expand the scope of practice for chiropractors and to create a multidisciplinary team approach in their healthcare system. Advocating and educating employers and insurance companies on the benefits of chiropractic care in an effort to expand private insurance coverage. And also educating the public on the benefits of chiropractic care through public awareness campaigns, utilizing traditional and digital media. Such campaigns only lead to a better informed public, more inclined to utilize chiropractic care. We also provide continuing education opportunities. So we have the annual convention and the AGM, which is held yearly. Now, this is a great opportunity to network, to connect with other members, engage and be inspired with some of the best clinicians, researchers, business leaders, and colleagues. And then we have an online platform called the BCCA On Demand. Now, this is an exclusive benefit of BCCA membership, where you can access online education. You can go on and pick some of the courses you want to do. Most of them are about an hour long and 1 hour modules, and then you can complete them at your own pace to get your continuing education requirements in. We also connect with members with employment opportunities. So this would be a great place for new graduates. It's called the BCCA Marketplace. And on here, you'll have opportunities for practices for sale, associateships that are available, people looking for a locum. So this would be a first place that you probably want to check out once you do graduate. And then we have Dr. Mo Baloo, who's our professional affairs advisor. So he's here to basically answer all your practice related questions. When you first start off, you want to know how to set up with ICBC, WCB, third-party insurers. He can guide you all along the way, and he's always open to answering questions to students. And then we have the new grad working group. And this is, developing resources to ease transition into practice. So this is something we never had in our time when we graduated. You can basically network with other new graduates. You're kind of creating a community to connect with all these new members, and they're there to answer questions and help you out. And then the BCCA staff and board, we just want to emphasize that we are always accessible. You can email us, you can call us. The staff, the board of directors, board members, we are here to basically support you. Thank you.
So we're really excited that at the end of October this year, we're going to be having our in-person convention. Like I said, the last one we did was in November 2019. So it's a 2-day event, and it's going to be in Kelowna. It's a Saturday and Sunday. And this provides programming and an opportunity for continuing education credits for chiropractors. So based on the College of Chiropractors protocol, they require that we have 40 continuing education credits every 2 years. Within that 40 hours, there are some specifics you require. You require six hours of those must be X-ray. But as new grads, you don't need that for the first year of practice. For the convention, there are student and new grad discounts, so a great opportunity for you to network, meet some great inspiring presenters, and we would love to have you there. So if you're definitely interested in attending, please, you can send an email to info@bcchiro.com, and the staff can definitely help you set that up once the registration portal is open. But it would be a great opportunity. I don't think this was available when before I graduated. Otherwise, I definitely would have come to meet some colleagues in my area. So I do hope you attend and that we get to meet some of you in person.
Great, thank you so much for that presentation. If any students have a question, you're more than welcome to go ahead and post it in our Q&A down below, and we'll answer as many questions as we have time for. While we're waiting for other people to post questions, I do have a question for some of the presenters today. So a common occurrence with Canadian students is that some decide to stay and work in the States after they graduate for up to 3 years. And I'm wondering how that might impact them if they go back to BC after that 3-year period, if they need to retake their Canadian board exams, if they can transfer their license, if they're licensed in the States.
I don't have the exact answer to that. I know when I graduated, I got my US licensing as well. Ruby, do you have the answer? I think you still.
I think basically if you've written your Canadian, so you've already got that, then you have your British, you're registered in BC to practice. If you've been not practicing as a member for a certain amount of time, I don't know what the exact rule is on that, but I do believe there's some sort of test or something that the hands-on portion of it that you might have to renew on. Because I do recall there was a situation, I know that person had been out of practice for a little bit longer. They were over 5 years and they had to do a little bit of continuing education. So I can't give you an exact answer, but definitely if you're planning on coming back into Canada as quickly as you can, write your Canadians, write your BC boards or whatever provincial boards you want to practice in.
Great, thank you so much. So the first student question that we have is there a campaign to try and get needling approved for chiros?
So we do, as the BC Chiropractic Association, that is an area that we advocate to the government. And so we do have a working group on that. Currently in BC, the Ministry of Health they're going to be doing some changes in the way that they have the colleges laid out. So right now we have 21 health regulated colleges. And so they are going to skim that down to 6. COVID hit, and so they weren't able to actually put together these 6 colleges. So right now, while the government is working through that, they have said that they will not allow for any scope expansion at this point. But that is definitely something that we're always advocating for. And hopefully we'll see that we will be able to practice in our full scope at some point once these new college regulatory boards are set in place.
Excellent, thank you so much. Our next question, can you work under multiple licenses in BC, like ND, DC, RMT, etc.?
So my understanding is, yes, you can. Basically, if you're providing chiropractic care and you're billing third-party insurance, it has to be billed under chiropractic. And if you're working as a DC, same thing, and providing DC services, ND services as a naturopath, that has to be a separate entity completely. Do you want to expand on anything with that, Jabeen?
No, I would. Yeah, I know a colleague who is both a chiro and a massage therapist, and she just makes sure that she bills accordingly with her extended. Yeah. So she carries both licenses.
Great, thank you. The next question is actually from an American who wants to practice in BC and is wondering what getting a visa looks like.
For me personally, I would not know how to answer that question of coming from the other way from US to Canada.
I don't know. I am assuming you would have to get a working visa. I wouldn't have that answer. No.
Okay, and our next question, if we get a student BCCA membership, does that transition into a non-student's membership, or is there a fee associated with memberships?
I believe the student membership is free.
Yes, so
you would just, there was a link, I think it was, I can't remember what it was, members.
Yeah, so the student membership is free.
Excellent.
at members.bcchiro.com.
So they have to apply for a sponsored membership after grad. Yeah.
Okay, and how do you go about signing up for the convention?
So the registration portal is not yet opened for that. Once that is, perhaps maybe our staff can send you a link to that registration that you can send out to the student, Canadian Student Association.
Oh, it says, tell them to sign up for student membership and we'll make sure they get the info through MMM. So make sure to sign up, everyone. Yeah, any other questions? So far, it looks like those are all I'm seeing.
And this Monday morning memo is an email that gets sent out every week from the membership, and it goes to everybody who signs up for it. It lets you know about events that are taking place, changes in anything happening with third-party insurance, billing, ICBC, WCB, new events, and everything that the board's been working on. So it's a great way to keep up to date on information that's currently changing quite a bit, especially during COVID. So sign up for the MMM, definitely.
We're also reading that we also have a quarterly new grad newsletter for info specific to students and new grads. So look forward to that. I do have one more question for both of you. So if someone gets registered to practice and is licensed to practice in BC and decides to practice in a different province at a later time, is it easy to transfer their license?
From the little I know about that, I think some of them can get grandfathered, but they would have to write an ethics exam for that particular province. I think the best organization that can ask that is the colleges of each province.
Great, thank you so much. So yeah, if anyone is thinking about doing that, let us know. We can send you the link for those other colleges if there's a specific province you're planning to work in. But does anyone else have questions for Dr. Jussa and Dr. Kaila? Wow, okay, I guess that's it for today. Thank you, everyone, and thank you so much, Drs. Jussa and Kaila. You're amazing. I'm so glad that we get to have you as alumni from our university and as representatives of the BC Chiro Association.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I hope to see some of these new grads one day.
Thanks.
And definitely reach out to us. Our email contacts are there. So if you'd like to reach out at any point, please do drop us a line.
Yeah, and just to let everyone know, if you do have any last minute questions, you can also email info@bcchiro.com or call 1-866-256-1474. So again, we'll share this recording as well as some additional documents via email and Facebook here shortly. But thank you so much for joining this event. It was really great to have Drs. Jussa and Kaila here with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.